Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest episode of Trading Spaces, episode number 15. Despite X deciding to almost completely collapse on us before we go live, I think we have just about timed this perfectly. We're going to be digging into all of the price action that we've seen over the past week, which has been pretty exciting. We had a great start. BTC getting within touching distance of 100K, something that I didn't think we'd be saying this week. But as you know, we've been here before. We've had momentum before. This does feel a little bit different, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the whether this is the moment that we can break through those levels. And simultaneously, why this is more exciting is ETH's been making moves. We've had meme coins moving. We talked a little bit about this on the last episode, but we'll be discussing whether we've got an alt season on our hands. Before we do that, though, really quick disclaimer. This, of course, everything we say today is for educational purposes only. None of it should be taken as financial advice. All right, Dan, how you doing? Good start to the year?
Hello, friends. Yes, amazing start to the year. I love seeing some movement in the markets, and I think we are at some massive inflection points. So I'm excited to discuss today.
100%. And I think we teed up actually quite nicely a lot of the levels that we were hoping to start seeing by the time we came into this conversation. Today, we're seeing a little some mixed signals here, but I think we're at a really important point right now that we'll dig in. Maybe we bring up the charts, and while you're doing that, I think it's worth maybe just talking about what's driven some of this. We've obviously had a bit of momentum coming into the new year, as we often start to see, especially after a slightly worse performing December period.
Hmm.
Macro, has played a role, but certainly the big move that we saw to push us past the 94, 95K mark, which I think had been a big sticking point for us for, I mean, well over a month now. That came right off the back of CPI data, which, if we remember, we were talking back in December that we had a really good CPI print, but then actually nobody trusted the data. So maybe it wasn't a really good CPI print, and who knows? Um, well, this kind of confirmed that CPI was looking really, really good, and this was our most up to date data. Came in under expectations. The picture around inflation looking much, much better. The next day we had PPI, which was kind of worse than expected. So net net unsure. We care more about CPI than PPI, so that's all good. Jobless claims we also had yesterday, and that showed that actually the labor market may be getting a little bit better. Certainly less people with unemployment claims. That's our weekly view of that. So I would kind of say, okay, macro from a market's perspective, somewhat neutral, but more positive than when we came into the end of the year. We've had, a few invasions of countries, maybe some more to come, but that's kind of a side note on a lot of this. The metals trade has been pretty strong off the back of everything happening in Iran and post Venezuela, which it seems like I genuinely don't remember the last time that we've seen crypto move in a really like strong way in tandem with metals, while equities kind of had a bit of a meh
Hmm.
time, which was quite refreshing actually.
I
Uh,
know. I
but
remember
yeah,
looking at my watch list, and it was like ES red and then everything green.
it's been a long time. It's been a
It's
long
been
time.
a long time, for sure.
So where are
No, for
we at?
sure.
Where are we at now? What's the story, Dan? How
So
how are
where
we
are we
looking?
at? Great question. So last time we streamed was January 2nd, and remember we discussed this EMA flip and cross that we wanted to trade on BTC and ETH, and as you can see, that played out really nicely. And back then I said, obviously, our biggest thing to do is flipping that 2025 yearly open. We have broken through it, but obviously we haven't really retested it. I'm personally in the camp that I think that strong markets don't really do very deep retests. So to be honest, for me, if BTC really has some gas in the tank, then I don't think we should do like those perfect retests lower down. If it happens, it should be okay. Like we are really doing that perfect SR flip as we speak. You can see like this, level here. And we're kind of free testing. But we also have our 4-hour EMAs there. And I think that we should just be moving from somewhere around here and not go all the way for like a deeper one if we're truly strong. But that's just my opinion. And
Yeah, I
obviously,
was
we all
looking.
have our preferences in the market, but this is mine. I think I would really like to see this hold because BTC doesn't really do like those deep retraces when it's trending. So that would
Right.
be my POV.
Yeah, and you mentioned kind of like the 4 hour EMA. I was looking at like the hourly, and it looks like we literally just tapped that, and we're kind of
Hmm.
moving back up. But I was a little worried we were gonna try and kind of dip a bit lower here, but it's hard to say
Yeah,
right now where we're at. But
it
I mean,
is.
the consolidation that we've started to see. I wanted to get your take here, Dan, especially the past 24 hours, 48 hours, where on Wednesday, I mean, it was just looking like nothing was holding us back,
Mm,
and we were going to be
hmm.
pushing past
Yeah,
97, hitting 98, breaking through into 100. And I would expect us to, probably bounce off of 100 a little bit, but we've been consolidating a little bit here. And do you
mm.
see that as a bad thing at this point, if we just take away the past hour or so?
It's a little awkward, I will say that. I think I will be a very happy woman if we would move from here. It does seem like it's stalling, doesn't it? And that's not
Mhm.
really what a trending market should do. We obviously did take out like this little level here, but that's like the bare minimum, right? Because any other things, which is like this low, and then obviously our 100K level, that's really where the business should be done in terms of like acting as resistance, in my opinion.
Mhm.
We do just have like a lot of work to do. We talked about this many times, right? That where we have just like our 1 day emails here looming above our heads. And it is very logical that we are kind of like struggling with that because it is something that obviously we were holding for a while. We also have, quite interestingly, our 3 day 100 coming up. And this is something me and you spoke about a lot of times where I said, like, it's just super important to look at things that have been very much working all this time and then they stopped working after 1010. And now we are kind of coming up to the bearish retest of that. We have almost touched it. Like it's
Yeah.
very, very close. So to me, and I had a video about this as well this week. To me, if we would reject here, that would really mean, give me a lot of data that this was like, that maybe potentially that lower high and we're gonna sweep lower, or maybe that's just it. I'm not sure. And something that it really made me think of is this little fractal situation. And I know a ton of people are looking at this, so I'm sure you guys have seen it around. But
Oh,
from an EMA
don't remind
perspective,
us.
oh, I know. It's a painful one, isn't it?
Hmm.
But yeah, I just have to show this, especially from an EMA perspective as well. This is obviously 2022 on the left, and then we have the current situation on the right. And we can see that there are, yeah, some quite interesting similarities there with our range high deviation, a bottom without any low swept, and then us coming into those daily EMAs for an underside retest. And as you can see here, we did like that reclaim, but then it was a fake out. And that will be a very strong signal to me that this was it.
It's kind of
So if that,
scary how similar this
I
this one is
know,
actually, isn't it?
I know. So, but I think it's good though. It's good to be aware of that. Like the more data we have, the more we have to work with. As I said in my video, we are not fortune tellers, but we try to come as close as possible to the truth. And I think it's good to be aware of these things. Yeah.
For sure. And I think if I remember correctly, the other thing to remember in that period of time back when in 2022 is I think that was right
Mm-hmm.
around when we had the lunar crash, which really shook markets. I think, when we kind of
Mm.
I think it was like was it was it April or May or something like that the lunar crash happened. It might even be when BTC like actually dropped down right in the May area. So
Mm.
there was
Yeah,
also
May
like
2022 it was. Yeah.
yeah, so like you see when it like fully rejects down, there was also a catalyst there that's a big piece. So I think it's like something to just like consider when we think about this.
Absolutely. And listen, I'm all for the reclaim and new highs, but I need to see some data happening on the charts to like convince me of that, right?
Yeah.
And right now I'm leaning more towards us. I do think we have some more action to do here. I mean, unless we break back below this, then I think, it was a very weak attempt and we have more chop and potential downside to come. But right now, if we can hold here, I'm still of the opinion we should do like some higher up action. But let's see. This is a super important level for ETH as well, actually. I'm sure
ETH has
you've
been
seen
really
this.
interesting, right? Because there has been, but besides today, ETH had been looking quite good in its setup
Hmm.
previously from today, but it seems like we've got, yes, a lot of work to do today in particular to change that back.
Yeah, like now, not
Yeah,
tomorrow, like
yeah,
today. Because I think, it's always a bit awkward, right? Like there's a ton of resistance here, 2025 yearly open, which has been like super pivotal as well. One day EMA. So there's just in this gray little circle, there's so much that we have to do. But if we can save ourselves here, like this candle that we're currently printing, which is obviously like red as we speak, if we could turn that into green, then this could be like a really perfect shallow retest and we like pump straight to true. But if we don't do that, yeah, it's not good.
and I think that the nice thing and probably why we're a bit more positive about ETH is it feels like if we do that, it feels like there's a lot less work to do compared to Bitcoin from like thereafter, already at
Mm,
kind of the yearly open from 2025 kind of levels. It still feels like, BTC, we've got quite a lot more ahead of us versus ETH, where there's still work to do.
I
But
agree.
yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like a nice setup from that perspective, right?
Yeah, to me, like ETH, if this circle is tackled, then it's much more clear, clean skies, however you
Yep.
say it, than BTC. I mean, in the end, listen, this could just all end up being like a little bit of a consolidation, right? Is it a long consolidation? Sure. But if you look at it from a trend perspective, then this still could like save itself here and just make a strong push. But I really think it should happen like pretty soonish. I
Hmm.
think closing a bad candle today would make things look different for me. And I think also a lot of altcoins, apart from a few selected ones that are really strong, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit,
Yep.
a lot of alts also had like those breakout attempts. And then with the latest stalling of the market, they kind of like looked weak and are like going down and like being a bit awkward. But
Mm.
also for those, if one crazy green dildo is printed, the structures like could be very safe from here. But then we just have to do that like now, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels
No
like
pressure.
it feels like the momentum's here. I mean, it has been kind of nice, certainly this week, which the start of this week already feels like a long time ago to me.
Oh yeah.
But the it has felt like going through all of December in particular, where we've just had pretty much consistently any move upwards the following day has just been paired with a complete reversal, right? It's just like
Mm,
everything got rejected.
slammed. Yeah.
Yeah. But it has felt like actually, really, since the start of the year, we've we've had much bigger moves that have felt like there's more conviction behind them,
I
um,
agree.
which I think has been interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and in
But
the end, listen, even if you look at the 3-day candle that closed, was it yesterday or the day before? This
mm,
is like a good 3-day candle, like it's like a engulfing of this whole situation. Obviously, it's right into resistance, but we spoke about that many times. We are aware of that. But it could look like really good, really quick as soon as we start doing the work. I think that's my conclusion of it. And I'm super open to the scenario of us reclaiming this and having like a good amount of upside here also for altcoins, because obviously with ETH that would coincide as it often does with those altcoin rallies.
mhm.
But right now it's just really tough to say what we're going to do because we are at that decision point and we're not breaking up, but we're not breaking down either.
Exactly. And we talk about alts, and we've mentioned this time and time again on the various streams we've done. ETH is usually the canary in the coal mine for when we are going to see a wider move in alts as well. And really, at the start of this year and coming through, certainly into the start of this week, we definitely saw a lot more speculative price action across a whole host of different alts. I mean, we talked on the last stream, didn't we, about Pepe, Doge, I think maybe another on the meme side, but the big movers really in this week have been the privacy coins,
Oh
and
yeah.
I mean,
Crazy stuff happening, right? I was
yeah,
actually drawing some comparisons here because we have, as you can see, Zcash on the left, and then we have Dash on the right. And Dash, I think, has really been all the rage this week with just having like its first like move from those lows that obviously, as you can see, it's been in these lows for so incredibly long.
yeah,
And I thought this was really interesting because if you compare, because I think there's like three of them that have the attention right now. Obviously, Zcash for a while already, and then Monero, XMR for a little bit longer as well. And then I think Dash is the slightly newer one.
and we
And I
talked
just,
about Dash, didn't we? I think in September when it had that
yeah,
first violent move, which was
yeah,
in tandem with Zcash,
exactly.
but it
We
just gave
did.
it all back.
Yeah, exactly. And the interesting thing here is, and this is why I love like the rotation conversation that we had a few streams ago as well, especially with alts, especially when they're in the same bucket or like the same narrative category, which obviously this is privacy, all of them. I think it's so nice to draw out these comparisons and kind of look at that money rotation. Obviously, everyone knows that Zcash was the strongest one for a very long time, and as you can see here on the left, it also really like broke out of that 2021 all-time high that it had, which is such crazy work considering the rest of the market. And then I quickly want to show you Monero, which did
This
the same.
this is
Very
wild.
crazy. This is so insane. And you can see also like this one's a bit different because it kind of always was a range. Remember when we spoke about it, we said like when this breaks out of the range, it's game time, and that's exactly what happened here. You can
Yeah,
see also from a trend perspective on a daily, very, very clean, you know? This is exactly how you want a strong move to look. Like strong moves don't stall. That's kind of the point we were making with BTC a little bit earlier, right?
yeah.
So as you can see, those two outperformers, which are obviously Zcash and then Monero, have both tackled their 2021 all-time high, and then this one has also tackled its 2017 all-time high.
Didn't even
Then if
blink
we,
when it went past it, even.
nothing is
It's
insane.
what I thought was quite interesting with Monero is, and maybe I'm just a bit salty about trading this poorly, but I when we were first talking about Zcash and then Dash making that move, um, I took like a small long position on XMR earlier in the year, so it was pre 1010, so I think it was probably around the September time, and
Mm.
it kind of did nothing. I was like, surely there's going to be
Yeah.
like the rotation, and it really wasn't part of that rally much. Like you look at like where we are here at around, yeah, coming into August, September, because I seem to remember buying in like the 300s. Um, so I think it will have been September actually of this year, and sorry, of last year. Yeah. So just there, in and around that range, I was like, okay, maybe something's going to happen, and nothing really materialized. And then 1010 happened. I was like, okay, I'm out of this. Like, let's
Mm.
let's let's close this stuff up. And hadn't really checked, and and I think like in tandem we've had a lot of news on the Zcash side, which I think has fueled this
Yeah.
rally of late, which we can chat a little about in a sec. But you carry on with like some of the charts on this, and I think we come back to that. But I just think it's like it is crazy how violent the move up has been on this one.
Absolutely. And that's why like putting alerts is so important, right? Because as you can see, it can really do nothing for so long and then completely like change its mind in a matter of a few days and just put in moves like that. And I think the reason why Dash is so interesting here and important is because you can see, that Zcash is really showing a little bit of weakness. And I think, I mean, it could save itself here, but, this has basically been a consolidation since early November, kind of, right? This is we're printing like this flag structure, which obviously could break up, like who knows, but it's pretty clean to me that this is like not where the attention is right now. So if we look at Dash, I think to me that would like, oh, let me see, it switched. To me, I think Dash is really trying some things here.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's so interesting is because it has more room to go, right?
Hmm.
And I think like it's always this conversation with rotation plays that you want to be like in the lead and not in the lagger. But with a rotation, sometimes the lagger can become the lead. And I think that's to me like the interesting conversation that's happening around Dash right now. Because I think it is tackling like such important levels here. We just broken out of this. And now we have this whole structure to tackle. But
Yeah.
if we can like really reclaim something here, because you can see, remember all the way back in November, it had like this attempt.
It was a huge move because I remember we were talking, and I was like, have you have you looked at Dash? Which the only reason I looked at Dash, which is probably the first time I looked at it since 2017, was that it came up in my like Kraken account top movers. And
Yeah,
actually my first thing was, wait, is like the Kraken app like glitching out
I
here or
know,
something?
I
And
know. Even when I remember when you said, "Have you looked at Dash?" I was like, "Said no one ever." But but,
exactly, right?
but that
Um,
changed really quick.
But I agree with you because if you compare this, the thing that I think like when we look at the XMR chart in comparison here is like the XMR chart right now, this reminds me the current like peak that they've just hit around 800 reminds me a little bit of actually when Zcash topped out at around about the 800. And you're kind of asking yourself a little bit like, what's the next level to tackle
Hmm.
here? And we're just
Yeah.
kind of in price discovery. So it's
Yeah.
hard to really say where are we going. Whereas you look at Dash and it's like, it hasn't actually broke out into that kind of level of like price discovery at all yet.
Oh no, not
Um,
at all. It hasn't even like really reclaimed those former range lows. And it's always a little bit tough to say because on one hand you could also speculate that this is just kind of riding off the back of the other privacy coins, right? Because they
yeah.
usually, when it's a narrative bucket, they will move in tandem. But I think this will kind of prove itself pretty soon, whether it's just riding off the back of that or if it really has legs on its own. I think looking for longs, like anywhere in any consolidation that starts to look strong, could be definitely a move here. And this is something I'm watching super closely. Obviously, if the rest of the market holds those levels that we just spoke about, right? And those EMAs and doesn't do like the very sharp rejection. But I
Yeah.
think this looks so good from like any trend perspective. This is like a beautiful structure that this is printing here, and I think this
Very,
this
very similar to when we were first talking about Zcash really, like what this kind of looked like back in
Mm,
September. That was, I think,
yeah,
also what we've said several times, so like the Zcash chart when it was in this kind of beginning of a move, that it was
absolutely.
hard to make sense of it a little bit. But it's been kind of interesting in that by and large, Zcash started has moved somewhat like to the inverse of Bitcoin a lot of the time, and you can kind of see that in a lot of like the shorter time frame price action as well. So it kind of makes sense that we're starting to see some of these privacy coins continue to like catch a bid. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And just follow the money. That's always the most important thing.
Mhm.
And like the attention and the money right now is clearly here. These are clearly the outperformers. So if BTC and ETH hold these levels, then I think this has a very good shot. I mean, like I said, with XMR, it's a little bit different because it is, like you said, price discovery. I'm not sure if it's price discovery in general or price
Yeah.
discovery for in a few years because I don't have all the data here. But I think Dash could be a really, really nice rotation play here when it does like some sort of consolidating, whether it's here or a little bit higher up. And then obviously combined with the rest of the markets holding their levels as well. Because I remember also me and you spoke a bit about memes the last time, and those actually outperformed for a little bit, but they stalled pretty quickly.
They did stall pretty quickly, and I think I think the one last thing on this privacy piece, which may have a bearing on this, is Zcash didn't make any big aggressive moves of late, like at certainly the start of this year upwards, but it did have a pretty aggressive pullback, and that I think has been the big narrative around why a lot of the privacy beta like trades are catching a bid like Dash
For
XMR.
sure.
And
Yeah.
the context there for people if they haven't been following was um I think this was it was last week, the pretty much the entirety of the core dev team that operates on the non-profit Zcash Foundation. I can't remember what's called, ZCC, I think it's called. They walked out along with one of the co-founders due to like some governance thing that we don't need to necessarily go into.
Mm.
And it really spooked people. And
Yeah.
you can kind of see that, like, it's like four downward candles that wiped out from about 520, 530 all the way down to like sub 400, and it's pretty much in tandem
Yeah.
with where
It,
you see
it,
this
it
violent move up in the Dash and
absolutely.
Monero.
That's where the rotation comes into play, right? And like the people that are want to be exposed to a narrative, and then when one of the coins kind of falls off for whatever reason, then they just rotate to the next one, which is I agree with you, clearly what we saw here. And remember, me and you spoke about this as well. I said like as long as we hold this, we have chance to go up, and if we break down, we're gonna go much lower, and we broke down here,
Yep.
and it mega dumped from there. Not all the way towards the level
No,
I
I
would be
actually thought it.
interested in.
Yeah, I thought it kind of held the 2021 level pretty well. I was like, okay, this is the kind of news that can like mega nuke something. And the fact that it kind of consolidated just above that 2021 all-time high,
Yeah.
um, and has kind of been doing okay since in the grand scheme of things. Uh, I just, I have a feeling this isn't the last we've seen of Zcash this cycle for sure.
No, this is, I mean, listen, this structure here, it's just kind of like cooking. And I
Yeah,
think we'll find out pretty soon, like whether we're cooking up or down, you
yeah,
know. Just
agreed.
yeah, it's really looks like a pressure cooker. That's what it looks like to me. So let's see. I mean, so far it's holding what it needs to hold. So in that sense, there is no big breakdown and there's no big break up.
Yep,
It needs time, clearly.
for sure. Well, we
Whereas
talked.
this one on the
Yeah,
right here looks like it doesn't need time. It wants to move. So let's see. I'll be actively checking here if I can catch any of this because this looks great.
It does
EMA
look great.
trader perfection. Beautiful.
And I think like the key thing, you know, you're talking about the rotation, thinking about following the money. The choice here for people that are speculating on privacy is, do I allocate into Dash? Do I allocate into XMR? Or do I take a more of a gamble really at this point now on Zcash? And it feels like the momentum is absolutely with Dash and then
Yeah.
maybe XMR, even though it's consolidating out a little bit. But yeah.
100%. I mean, to me personally, Zcash to me needs time to decide. So that one's off for me at these levels, unless I see like strength here from a long perspective, of course. Dash, super interested, will look for entries. And XMR, I don't love trading price discovery when I haven't caught it when it broke out. So that's my POV.
I feel exactly the same. I think
Yeah.
it's both like extremely hard to like figure out where I should like stop this thing out and also actually take cash off the table. So I
Yeah,
completely agree with you. Dash feels like there's a lot more logical levels that we can look at to kind of like
100%.
prove and disprove stuff out.
Yeah, agreed.
What about you mentioned that we were talking about memes, we were talking about Pepe quite a bit in the last live stream that we did. That was looking very promising in the first week, first few days of the year. What are we looking like now? Are we
Hmm.
have we completely died off? Or is the meme rally still here?
Listen,
Fighting
this
for
to
its life
me,
here on
fighting for its life. I feel like this, along with most of the other charts, apart from those isolated strength privacy coins we just spoke about, all of these coins are looking to the sides. Or, well, they're not looking to the side, they're waiting for the decision to be made for them by
Yeah.
the big two, the big three. Obviously, equities as well, and who knows, Trump or whoever they're waiting for. But they are clearly waiting for something because it's a little bit the same, right? It's like we're not breaking up, but we're not breaking down either.
Yeah.
But we are stalling. And stalling can be okay if it's followed by conviction.
Mm.
And right now, we are not seeing that conviction yet. So to me, it's really hard to make up my mind for something like this with Pepe because we are at very big support. We spoke about this the last time we streamed, and I think if we, for instance, put up Doge,
Doge looks
it will
exactly the same. It's
exactly
like
the
the same
same.
chart.
They all
It's
look the same. They all look the same.
similar with
So
Pengu actually as well, which I was looking at earlier.
yeah,
It's like the recent price is like just mirrors this exact pattern.
yeah, it's like they they want to, they're trying, they have like this floor here, but it's like yeah, it looks pretty awkward. Um, And like I said, if this prints like a crazy green dildo here, then suddenly everyone's gonna say like, "Oh, it was support. It was so logical, right?" Because then in hindsight, like obviously it was like, "Oh, it was just stalling a little. Like who cares?" But yeah, in the moment right now, it feels really awkward, and I understand people are a little bit uncomfortable with the lack of follow through, and I get that. I get that a lot. I think with Pengu, it's the
Kind of in a
same
similar way
story.
of what we were saying, very different chart, but similar to what we're saying about ETH, right? It's kind of
Hmm.
like, you know, we're in
Yeah.
this like awkward spot that we kind of have to do something here.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it is just, they all reclaimed support or held support and are now trying to make some sort of flip. And whether they can do it or not remains to be seen. I
Mm.
think, considering the very long downtrend and the very long bottoms, I think things do deserve a shot. I think I completely understand people taking positions here. Like, this is like a fair place to take a position in. I do think that. But personally, I would love to see like some strength. I think that is when you really want to start getting allocated because so many of these, as we said, I feel like 20 times now, but it's good to repeat yourself when the message is um, very important.
Hmm.
And we can see here with ETH, we're attempting a little bit of some movement here, on a very, very low time frame. And I just hope that this weekend can give us that follow through that we need. And then in a moment, of course, there are a lot of decisions if people want to trade, whether, which one they're going to allocate to. But I think if we see follow through here from the majors, then I think you do want to act on that. But right now, it's not clear whether that's happening or not.
Yeah, I feel like of everything that the ETH price action is particularly important for
Super
BTC
important.
over this
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, once again, no pressure. I hope Mr. Donald is not making some more announcements as he loves to do
I know,
on a
I
Friday
know.
night,
Unless it's a good one. Unless it's a good
unless
one.
it's a good one. Yeah.
I just have that feeling, Dan, that this is going to be one of those very active Sundays in the
Mm,
market.
I
Uh,
hear you.
and it might be what we need. It might be what we need. But I think there's going to be uh, a lot of action to be had, and I think the charts are going to look very different one way or the other on Monday, at least. So we've had the walkthrough of BTC. We kind of need to know what we do there. I think there's some hurdles to overcome. ETH is in a bit of like a make or break right now. Privacy coins, I think, are going to still continue to steal the show, at least for the foreseeable. Anything else on your mind before we start to wrap things up?
No, I think those look good. Another interesting thing that I won't pull up here because it is a little questionable, but there's also some action. I just want to flag people of this with the protocols that are a little bit frowned upon maybe, but have like those very clear revenue incentives, and those are RLB and Pump. I don't know if you've
Hmm.
seen that,
Yeah,
but
I
those
haven't
have been
seen
moving a
RLB,
bit.
but I was following some
RLB
stuff around Pump.
put in a wild weekly close last week.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, crazy. I looked at that and I was like, what? So
Yeah,
so
I
that's
was definitely
interesting as
following the
well.
moves on Pump, which have been actually very strong.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, we
charts
did
have
some
been
good
good.
trades on that on the stream here, remember?
Yeah,
All
that
the
was
way
when
back.
was
Was it
that?
the
Was
summer?
Yeah, I think it was the
It was the
summertime.
summer.
It looks like the
Yeah.
EMAs are about to flip as well on the 4 hour, which is cool. So yeah, it's looking
Yeah,
actually not too bad on Pump.
not too bad. It's yeah, I mean, Pump did that perfect gap fill play that we
Yep.
spoke about a few times. And I think, yeah, look, this to me looks like it definitely wants to move.
Mm.
Will be one of those that will probably take a lead as soon as BTC and ETH make up their minds and decide to go up. Looks stronger than most, I would say.
Yeah, and I think the key here, what we're largely saying is, pay attention to all these charts, but the BTC and ETH moves are really actually what matters the most in all of this right now. I think certainly for
100%.
whether we're going to have
Yeah,
any staying power in this momentum.
couldn't agree more. These are the levels to watch, and you know what to do. I'll let you know if we break down or if we break up, and I'm sure either way we'll catch some nice trades.
For sure. I'm going to send some positive energy to the charts after we wrap up.
And to
But
twitter.com, please.
yeah, exactly.
Ruining our
Exactly.
numbers.
All right. Well, we'll wrap things up for today. It's been fun going through a lot of like this price action. I'm actually really looking forward to when we tune back in a couple of weeks. We'll of course have the replay coming out, especially if you're having any issues with X. We'll make sure that the replay will come out pretty soon. If you're not already, follow Dentoshi, of course, on X. Make sure you follow Kraken Pro, Kraken FX. Stay up to date with all of the streams and all the other content that we'll have shared out. Myself and Dan will be, of course, sharing out any updates on the charts in between that time. And hopefully, we'll see you all back soon with the next Trading Spaces. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, and pray for some action on
Oh, yes.
Sunday. Woo!